Starting today, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers says it will be suspending the delivery of commercial flyers. It's an attempt to get Canada Post back to the bargaining table to advance contract negotiations. The flyer ban is a shift from the previous tactic of withholding overtime hours. This move also comes after more than a year and a half of inconclusive labor talks. Winnipegger Matthew Aitken has been a postal worker for 15 years and joins me now in studio. Good morning. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
What did you think when you got the notice from the union telling you that you would no longer be delivering flyers?
Well, I mean, I thought, well, something's changing, right? Because nothing's changed at the bargaining table. I mean, we've been in contract negotiations for almost 2 years. There's been a 5-week strike. The government has forced us back to work. The ruling class forced the workers to take a vote on the contract offer from the employer that was resoundingly rejected. Does anybody in Ottawa do anything anymore? All the postal workers across the country have been going to work and showing up and doing their thing and, continuing to bring profits into the company. And, we can't get a contract. So, I'm thinking that it's good. We needed a bit of a change in plans here to get things moving at the bargaining table because it's been deadlocked for far too long.
And I want to ask you about that. Compared to the overtime ban, I mean, how effective do you think this tactic will be?
Well, with the overtime ban, Canada Post has an ability to call in temporary work staff and get things delivered. This flyer ban, flyers make up 14% of the corporation's revenue. So this is a direct hit on their bottom line and should inspire some talk at the table.
I wonder, because you said 14%, it is 14% of the business that Canada Post does is through the delivery of commercial of business flyers. But what would you say to the business owners who say, I've invested in this, I've printed the material, I'm relying on Canada Postal Workers to deliver this material? I mean, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I'd say, maybe if you've got a flyer or something that's got a date on it, like you're having a sale or something like that, some of that stuff may get stale dated. But I would say call the corporation and ask the corporation to negotiate a fair contract. Canadian Union of Postal Workers members want to deliver that mail. They want to help those Canadian businesses get their advertising out there in that way. And we can't do that when we haven't had a contract for, almost 2 years. So, and when there's no move at the negotiation table, we need to do something to inspire that.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about delivering the flyers. I understand that it's actually quite laborious, that there has been mention that carrying these flyers around is heavy and it's physically taxing on postal workers. What kind of work typically goes into flyer delivery?
Well, I mean, I've worked a lot of different jobs. I've worked a lot of construction jobs. I've worked in restaurants and things like that. And I tell you, sometimes at the end of the day, there ain't no day that kind of kicks your butt harder than a good day of letter carrying. And yeah, when you have a lot of flyers to deliver, it can be quite heavy. Preparing them at the end of the day can also take hours and hours. We've got some monster routes now. You could be preparing up to 5,000 individual pieces of ad mail at the end of the day, standing on concrete with no ergo mats. The corporations decided to take away some safety devices for us in those ways. And, flyers can be quite laborious. Your back hurts for sure.
It's been a year and a half now. Inconclusive labor talks between the union and Canada Post. How is this affecting you and your colleagues?
Well, we talk about it. I mean, and the government really needs to get these parties to at the table, and it needs to get something negotiated here. We've got this moment in Canadian history where the public service, a crown corporation, Canada Post, owned by Canadians, is really being devalued. It's being devalued by the corporation that runs it, and it's being devalued by the government. I've tried to call my MP several times over the summer to talk to him about this issue, but Ben Carr does not return phone calls. And it's really frustrating. We've got this golden moment where, what happens when Trump, he turns off all the data and there's no Amazon in Canada anymore. But Canada Post has this network, the infrastructure. We can take things from Canadian businesses, put them in a marketplace and sell things to Canadians. I mean, Canada Post is owned by Canadians and we are letting it slip away. Canada it's a very real risk of losing the public post office and letting all these American competitors come in and buy up all that business and start delivering. We've also got situations going on right now, like in telecom and Dragonfly. This is a Canada Post subsidiary, and they use gig work gig work to deliver this stuff. I used to work in Vancouver 5 years in international incoming mail, and I know what a package from China looks like. And when I'm out there delivering, I'm now seeing packages from China with stamps on them, be it not delivered by me, but it's on my route. So how does something with stamps on it that is supposed to be the exclusive right of Canada Post to deliver in this country getting delivered by another courier? It's very bizarre. The whole public postal service is being devalued. Canadians are at real risk of losing it, and they own it, and they can make money off of it. There can be some innovation, and Canada Post can be totally different. It can be independent from any kind of American influence, but we are not letting that happen. The politicians aren't letting it happen. They're all gathering in Ottawa today to start Parliament, and they're going to talk about building huge resource projects. But they've got a huge resource. These is 50,000 Canadians, their livelihood. That's 50,000 mortgages across the country. The government's willing to just let it go. And like I said, Ben Carr, my own MP, will not call me back. Politicians are not interested in this issue, and they should be. It's a moneymaker. Canada Post is a moneymaker for the government. If it's run properly, it can really help Canadian businesses, and it's being ignored.
And I was going to ask you about that, because you said that Canada Post is a moneymaker, but I mean, throughout the labor talks, Canada Post has warned that the Postal Service is bleeding millions of dollars in business daily because of the uncertainty around collective bargaining. What do you think when you hear this, when Canada Post is saying that it's actually bleeding money?
Well, if there's uncertainty, if they're losing money because of uncertainty around collective bargaining, then get a deal done. If having a good contract in place is what starts making money flow into the corporation again, well, then I guess maybe we should have had a deal done 2 years ago, and then we wouldn't be losing money. The truth of the matter is that until 2018, Canada Post did make a lot of money. And Canada Post, when it makes money because it's a crown corporation, that money goes back to the Canadian people. It doesn't go off to buy luxury yachts for, world-class billionaires, right? This is not the deal. So something happened in 2018 and Canada Post started losing money, but it doesn't have to. Also, Purolator is 91 or 93% owned by Canada Post. Check out the profits for Purolator. They've been going up because Canada Post has been shifting some of its work to Purolator. And if you talk to those Purolator drivers out there, they say every day all summer's been like Christmas. So yeah, Canada Post revenues are down, but Purolator revenues are up, and it's just because of a shifting of the product. Canada Post can be innovative. Canada Post can capture almost the entire parcel market in Canada. It just has to be aggressive about getting it, and it will make money, and it can make money. There's no reason for Canada Post not to make money. It has a total monopoly on delivery, and like I said, I think things are being farmed out. I've seen packages with Chinese stamps on them, not delivered by me. Things with stamps on them are supposed to be in the post office, like in the postal system. There's a global network of this stuff. And when that stuff gets diverted, it's actually breaking the law. Canada Post, through the Canada Post Act, is supposed to have exclusive delivery right to that. So why is Canada Post losing money? I mean, I think that's a good question for the people in Ottawa. Earlier this year, they fired 50 managers. Nothing changed. They fired 50 managers at the head office, and nothing changed as far as my delivery, your delivery, the work that we do. So when the workers work, things happen and people make money. Like I said, if you can fire 50 managers and nothing misses a beat, well, then maybe there's some other places that the corporation could be looking to, increase revenues and make some savings. And it doesn't have to come at the expense of workers. Like I said, 50,000 mortgages out there getting paid, 50,000 families being taken care of, and the government doesn't care. The government just does not care.
Matthew, I do really appreciate you joining us on the show today here. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.